Stop sending the wrong signal to the world. This is how China responded to an American delegation meeting Tibetan spiritual leader, His Holiness the Dalai Lama in Dharamshala. So why is China so angry with US over its Dalai Lama outreach? Will this be the next flashpoint between two rivals? And what does US China tussle over Dalai Lama mean for India? So, a group of US lawmakers, including former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, met the exiled spiritual leader Dalai Lama in the scenic town of Dharamshala. They even addressed Tibet's parliament in exile, and the message was loud and clear. It was clear challenge to China's stand on Dalai Lama.
His Holiness the Dalai Lama, with his message of knowledge and tradition and compassion and purity of soul and love, he will live a long time and his legacy will live forever. But to you, President of China, you'll be gone and nobody will give you credit for anything. So in that spirit now the Dalai Lama would not approve of my saying that. When I criticize the Chinese government, he says, let's pray for Nancy to rid her of her negative attitudes. But I think I hope he will indulge me today to say the change is on the way. As our colleagues have said, hope springs from faith, and the faith of the Tibetan people in the goodness of others is what is going to make all the difference.
The timing of the visit is also significant. The US delegation arrived in the Himalayan town roughly a week after the US Congress passed a bill urging Beijing to re-engage with the Dalai Lama to peacefully resolve their dispute over the status and governance of Tibet. So in essence, the Resolve Tibet Act, as the legislation is called basically, rejects Beijing's stance that Tibet has been a part of China since ancient times.
They are trying to erase the culture, reduce the use of the language, Hans coming into the population there. They are trying something that we cannot let them get away with. Now, in the spirit of His Holiness, I'll be gracious to the Chinese people. I don't know that they're up to this, but we do know that the Chinese government is, and we do know that they must get the message. And this legislation sends the message, the House and the Senate, and soon to be signed by Joe Biden, the President of the United States.
China, as expected, was enraged. Lin Jian, a spokesperson for the Chinese Foreign Ministry, urged Washington to not support Tibetan independence and said the White House must not sign the bill into law, warning that China will take resolute measures. The Chinese ministry spokesperson said, and I quote, "It's known by all that 14th Dalai Lama is not a pure religious figure, but a political exile engaged in anti-China separatist activities under the cloak of religion."
China can express unhappiness if it wants. We're going to stand for what's right. What's right is to make sure that Tibetans have freedom. They are able to return to their native land. They're able to have and live and keep their culture and their history. That's what's right.
Additionally, the US lawmakers also said that they would not let China influence the choice of Dalai Lama's successor. The question of Dalai Lama's successor has been a contentious and widely debated issue. China says Beijing and its officially atheist communist leaders have the right to approve the successor. Remember, according to Tibetan tradition, the Dalai Lama is reincarnated after his death, and the current leader has said his successor may be found in India, and even floated the idea of doing away with the Dalai Lama once and for all. Earlier, the US had also urged China to immediately account for the Panchen Lama's whereabouts and his well-being, who was abducted by Beijing on May 17, 1995. The Panchen Lama is one of the most important religious figures in Tibetan Buddhism, second only to Dalai Lama. But why is China so bothered by any country's outreach to the Dalai Lama? Here's the thing. China considers Tibet to be an integral part of its territory and views any support for Tibetan autonomy as interference in its internal affairs. They've long accused the Dalai Lama of being a separatist despite his calls for autonomy rather than full independence. India, which hosts the Tibetan government in exile, has maintained a studied silence over US delegation's visit. However, the fact that India did not object to the US delegation's visit shows that India is sending a veiled message to China, which regularly provokes India on the border. So what next in the Dalai Lama succession road? And how will the US Resolve Tibet Act impact the already tense ties between US and China? Let us know what you think in the comments below.